Alright, everyone. We are going to be heading on in to the last leg of the raid for Pandemonium Anabaseios, I believe it is. And last time we left off, our buddy, who is the researcher here, went missing in Anaza's Law, and Pandemonium showed up in the Ideoscope. So let's figure out what's going on. Eater of Souls. Ah, Kessler. I had a feeling you would arrive soon. Urgent tidings always seem to carry you in their wake. After all, and Master Fortunato recently sent you word regarding an investigation. Seems he uncovered information regarding Professor Claudian's whereabouts and the sudden appearance of Pandemonium in the Ethereal Sea. We would do well to meet him at once. If you have no objections, I ask that you proceed to the Ideoscope forthwith. I shall make the necessary arrangements and join you shortly. Thank you for answering my summons with haste. Let us forgo formalities and jump straight to the heart of the matter. Namely, the whereabouts of Professor Claudian, who has not been seen since his ill-advised journey to Azazlan. A subsequent expedition discovered an airship in the vicinity of the Ethereal Research Facility. Although the vessel clearly belonged to the professor, he was nowhere to be found. There are signs that someone, perhaps the man himself, had forced their way into the facility, so this trail was duly followed. However, the trail led nowhere, in the most literal sense. It's almost as if an entire sector of the facility had been wrestled from existence. Further investigation confirmed the expedition party's suspicions. Nigh on, an entire sector of Azazla has been teleported elsewhere. Teleported to where? We believe that its destination was none other than the Ethereal Sea. Here were its elegant facilities reconstituted as the halls of Pandemonium. Great success, as you can see. So that means Professor Claudian is in there? In that monstrous fortress? That is our leading theory. We are certain enough, at least, to risk sending you into the depths in search of the missing man. Yet before we do, there's another pressing matter. While Pandemonium may appear firmly sealed, an unknown entity was recently spied crawling forth from its gates. We observed its behavior with the Ideoscope, and to our horror, witnessed it gorging upon the surrounding aether like a ravenous beast. What? No, it must be stopped. The Ethereal Sea harbors the souls of the departed. It is the wellspring from which all creatures are born. If its flow were disturbed, life itself might cease to be. Precisely. It safely must be our first priority. Rid us of this menace, Kessler. Then we will be at liberty to investigate what wicked machinations are afoot. This memory crystal was recovered from Claudian's airship. Take it with you, and may yet provide some insight into the enigma of Pandemonium. Without Themis, there will be no army of phantom warriors. I realize you are more than capable in combat, but are you certain you'll be alright? Themis isn't the only one who can summon our illusory allies. He isn't? Why, of course. I should have known someone of your talents would master even the ancient arcane arts. Apologies for my failure of imagination. Once we are freed of the looming specter of Pandæmonium, you must promise to share your knowledge. For the sake of thorough reports, of course. In the meanwhile, I shall focus my efforts on providing you with what information and support I can. I shall gather researches from the confluence, construct a means to convey you to your destination. The rest is in your hands. Impressive work, cousin. Their memories of your tenacity were not embellished in the slightest. Do not be alarmed. A proper introduction shall set your mind at ease. I am Athena, chief keyword of Pandæmonium, wife to La Habrea, and mother to Erechthonius, and it is I who made Pandæmonium anew in the underworld. In manner of speaking, I am the source of all your recent troubles. I must say, I did not imagine I would meet you in this age. Slight miscalculation, but perhaps a fortunate one, for your deeds in the past have left quite an impression on me. I understand you have reason to be wary, but I assure you, there is no need. I know not what La Habrea has told you of me, but all that I have done out of sincere scientific curiosity. That appetite yet remains, even after my rebirth. Conflict is the furthest thing from my mind, and as I ask you, at least hear me out before brandishing your weapon. You were reborn? In a sense, yes. It was the only way I could see my research completed. The myriad of souls floating in the ethereal sea provided all the raw material I require, and your Professor Claudium proved a most welcome surprise. Worry not, for I treat all my tools with care, especially those with which I grasp godhood. You are as stubborn as La Habrea, I see. Although I speak in earnest, you refuse to hear the meaning of my words. Perhaps you would be better served by a different teacher. Luckily, you already possess the tools I require to make one for you. Oh. Yes, that crystal teems with memories. Memories of two souls you know quite well, La Habrea and Erechthonius. I shall stitch them into the fabric of two errant souls that will help that with their help you may come to see clearly. Yeah. Where are we? Surely these two have much to tell you of me. I would have you listen. Perhaps then you shall better understand me, my desire for godhood. There is another, but their soul has proven difficult to work with. However, with these memories, I may very well manage to weave together something presentable. You have a place in my plans. I do hope that in time, you come to realize that cooperation is the best path forward. I have little understanding of where we are, yet somehow I am unsurprised to find you here. At present, I have more questions than answers. Perhaps you can help me address this inequity. Is there somewhere we can speak without fear of interruption? Ah yes, I remember you telling us about this memory crystal. To think that it contained our memories. This is a lot to take in. Not least of all, the fact that you hail from the future. I searched for you after a time, but could find no trace. Now I know why. Our age had its share of surprises. My memories are to be believed. The supposedly world-ending final days came upon us. Yet here we are, in a future where you, at least, exist. Do we overcome the despair that befalls us? Do we find a way to live on? Questions without simple answers, it seems. Let us take heart that life endured in some form. As but memories, we may never have the luxury of the larger picture. Regardless, now that it has come to pass, this future must be protected from Athena's scheming. Let the conviction guide our every action. Agreed, but as memories given fleeting form, we are bereft of any physical or magical talents. We cannot aid Caslo in battle. Nay, Athena meant us to speak, and nothing more. But though we may be tools, we need not be slaves to her whims. We will tear ourselves from our grasp and shatter her ambitions. I must wonder how she knew of our history with Caslo. Likely she possessed some means by which to observe events within Pandæmonium, either while they were occurring or after the fact. Regardless, her knowledge far exceeds our own, a shortcoming we must remedy at once. We would do well to learn more of the Pandæmonium now dominating the landscape of souls. Caslo's colleagues will doubtless prove to be of value in that respect. Although you may be but a confluence of memory, it is an honor to meet the personages I have only read of in Caslo's reports. As a researcher, this is beyond exciting, but I must admit, no small measure of fear as well. I know what you mean. I can scarcely stop my legs from shaking. We're powerless to do aught but speak. I see no reason why you should be afraid. It isn't my life I fear for. I only fear that I might not have the chance to ask you all the questions now burning a hole in my mind. I stand before two of the ancients, who hold priceless knowledge beyond the ken of any of our peers. But what purpose does fear serve if not to be confronted and conquered? To that end, we shall share with you our records. Perhaps together we can find that thread, which will lead us safely out of this conundrum. Information shall be our most precious resource, for that is the only weapon we can wield in these forms. Our memories are at your complete disposal. We can start with Athena, whose thirst for discovery would see all life consumed. Her desires haven't changed. Still, she seeks to transcend her mortal essence, so that she might unravel the mysteries of life. She would become a god. A nebulous concept, but Athena had her own ideas on what divinity entailed. In her mind, a god can create souls at will. Thus she chose the underworld, or the ethereal sea, as it is known in this age, as the staging ground for her final experiments. Here lies a practically bottomless well of ether. Even if it means stemming the flow of life itself, she intends to continue her work. She thinks of nothing else. We caught a glimpse of Athena as we came into this world. Her smile, her voice, they were just as I remember. Without even realizing it, I found myself feeling an affection for her. Don't look at me like I've gone mad. I'm not asking you to join her side. I know the true Ericthonius would never want that. These emotions remain, in memory if nowhere else. We shall remain here to compile what information we can. We must infiltrate Pandæmonium and seek out Athena. I would ask that you leave the memory crystal with us. It may hold secrets, which have yet to be unveiled. All that's left is to cross that menacing threshold. Shall we take a closer look? I have one question for you. Does the word Orosite mean aught to you? Orosite? Why, yes. There are few records of its existence. It mainly makes appearances in legends of Evilis and tales concerning the Asian Laha. In tales concerning an entity known as an Asi. This personage is associated with Black Orosite, known as the Heart of Sabik, a source of considerable power. I see. So time has not buried it. We're getting Heart of Sabik lore! I knew you would come. I never lost faith that we'd meet again. I told you as much, did I not? I understand you may be confused. I was too at first. See, I am not the true Themis. I was made by Athena, molded from one of the many souls at her disposal. I am only an illusion built from memory. No more real than La Habrea or Ericthonius. Even so, I believe I have a grasp on the situation. This is the distant future. Future where Athena lives once more, although the means of her rebirth are yet beyond me. You are here to stop her. Have I the right of it? Very good. I would be disappointed if you did not rise to her challenge. Although I'm sorry to say I cannot aid you. My creator has tampered with my essence, and I am oddly inclined to act in her interests. I can do naught but offer you the words of warning. We will fight, and it cannot be avoided. There's no need for that pained expression. Remember, I am but an illusion. Nothing worth shedding tears of. We can free you, just as we freed Agdistis. Thank you for the sentiment, but I'm afraid that is quite impossible. Athena's grip on my mind is unyielding. Still, I would ask that you listen carefully to the advice I offer you now. Athena has prepared a new vessel to replace Ericthonius, so that she may become a god. By gathering the souls readily available in the Sea of Ether, she tempers her own essence. Yet the souls are faint, diffuse. She doubts whether they are sufficient for her goals, so she has turned her gaze to you. Despite your thin ether, you managed to lay Hephaestus low, and Athena would know the secret of your strength. To that end, she has prepared an experiment for her observation. Fight for your life against Athena's creation, and in doing so, give her the knowledge she desires. Okay, I guess we're going straight into monstrosity beast thing. I wonder if it's just going to be called Pandæmonium for the boss. Oh. We went into a sphere of darkness. What's happening? Athena has made her move. We must find a way to reach her, or all is lost. We can do little but hope for Kaslo's success. Pandæmonium, once a mass of lifeless stone, now imbued with a soul. Athena has grown much since her death at La Habre's hand. Although the souls she creates are imperfect, they act with absolute obedience. I know you shall cut your way through this monster, as you have so many others. Then you shall come before me. Do not hesitate to do what you must, but that is the only way to stop Athena. Okay, Sheikah Eye. There was a beautiful display, as always. I stand enchanted by your grace in battle. Kaslo, is that? Pandæmonium's final gate has been cast wide. I shall await your arrival beyond. Apologies for not coming sooner. This space is enveloped in some fell energy. We couldn't risk venturing through it before taking due precautions. Were my eyes mistaken? Was that Themis? Tell us what you know. We must consider our next course of action carefully. I ought to have anticipated this. He bore witness to past events within Pandæmonium. Athena would have found Elidibus impossible to overlook. You possess such talent for magics, they not of the emissary's discerning judgment. So she found his soul upon the tides of the ethereal sea, and used his memories to craft a puppet that would serve her whims. But is what Themis said true? She imbued Pandæmonium itself with the soul, to breathe life into that which should never live. Athena's research is fast approaching its culmination. Fortunately, with the information shared with us by your friends, we've made some strides towards figuring out how to stop her. The crystal called the Heart of Sabik may be the key. Researchers related a quick but thorough history of events leading to the present. The sundering of the star, the emergence of the Asians, and the calamities that they brought to bear upon the realm. Tales that under other circumstances we would have considered childish fantasy, not for a name that rang true to La Habrea's memories. The Heart of Sabik. To you, the secret of ultimate weapons might, not least the spell known as Ultima, and the source of enduring mystery. We are told that a general from the Garlean Empire was gifted this Orisite by an Asi, that the ultimate weapon might be perfected. The identity of this shadowy benefactor, however, remains a curious unknown. You seem to be a veritable trove of uncommon knowledge. There's aught you are withholding. Very well. At present, the Heart of Sabik itself is of greater moment. It is a creation of Athena's, made during her time with the words of La Habrea. This predates even Pandæmonium's construction. She brought before us a crystal that she claimed to have chanced on, saying it contained immense power. She dubbed it Orisite, studying it with fervor unusual even for her. The eventual fruit of her efforts was a Stygian crystal unlike aught we had ever seen. The Heart of Sabik. How did she find this Orisite? Athena was never forthcoming as to how she found the crystal. We came to believe that it originated outside our star, but could deduce little else. Much later, we discovered that Orisite magnifies the desires of those who come into contact with it. This would do much to explain Athena's actions following her recovery of the crystal. Alas, this realization came too late. By the time I moved to seal the Orisite and its insidious influence away, Athena's plot had already been laid. So what became of the Heart of Sabik? I took it from Athena's laboratory after I ended her life. The density of the ether within was unlike anything I had observed. I knew its capacity for destruction, but further analysis proved impossible. I elected to safeguard it myself. Is it possible that Athena herself obscured the crystal's contents? Even were her memory stored within, they would have remained enigma. She included some mechanism by which to give these memories form, as she did with our own. She would be reborn. Ironic that I should have protected those very memories in the name of safeguarding the star. Fate is loath to see mistakes go unpunished. I've told you all I know of Athena and the many secrets she kept hidden from the world. If she indeed stored her memories within the Heart of Sabik, we must ask ourselves how they are awakened in this age. When was the crystal last sighted? During my fight with the Ultima weapon. In which you triumphed, but failed to recover the heart. Yet according to your colleagues, there was another on the battlefield that day, an Asian. And this self-same Asian was later struck down at a location known as the Etherical Research Facility. I've heard that name, and recently, the site of Professor Claudian's disappearance. Indeed, He was tracing an ethereal signature resembling that of a memory crystal in his possession. A signature that may well have belonged to the heart of Sabine, in which case it is no coincidence that Athena's awakening followed. For what reason would he have to bring her back to life? Was his mind not his own? Yet more questions without answers. Although Athena's essence is that of a memory, her magics have not suffered for lack of a physical body. As the world is now, it should not be possible. But she must have found a suitable vessel. If Elidibus is to be believed, she readies this vessel for godhood, and is perilously close to success. It beggars belief. As you well know, you were a linchpin of her ambition. Yours was the only form that could contain the immense power Athena required, and has long since turned to dust. As pleasant as this discussion is, we require more information to unravel this mystery. You know who awaits you, cousin. Themis. Fear you won't find him so cooperative as we're accustomed to. We know now how vast the space between these gates may be. Somewhere within lurks Athena, with Elidibus leashed at her side. This may be a simplistic theory, but hear me out. If Themis arose from his memories intact, he would be eager to see reason. But we need only break the magics that bind him to retain our old ally. When I had fallen under Hephaestus' influence, you didn't stop trying until I was freed. I would ask that you do the same for Themis. Though none of us are real in the conventional sense, I feel it must be done. Themis would never have wished to be your enemy. He kinda did. While Erechthonius' perspective is a sentimental, Elidibus may possess privileged knowledge, question him unimpeded by magics. Would be ideal. Distis broke free of her bonds, in her final moments, suggesting that Athena's hold weakens under the weight of combat. You might use the same principle to unshackle Elidibus' mind. But remember that our very nature is fragile. Even if he inhabits a vessel with which to meet you in battle, I am certain it is not meant to endure. If left weakened for too long, his ether may dissipate back into the ethereal sea. You had best act quickly. The fog is lifted. I knew that Athena's magics magnify the desires of their victim at the expense of aught else. I never guessed what desire in mine she could exploit. Since the moment we met, I have made plain my interest in you, my desire to understand your nature. I suppose that curiosity extended to how each of us would fare in a match of strength. What is this? Free. And I am no longer needed. Do not look so crestfallen, my friend. These few moments of clarity are more than I could have asked for. You must render judgment of Athena's actions. This warmth, your aether. You've grasped the fraying strands of my being and tied them together with your own. Nevertheless, I fear that I am on borrowed time. I only hope that I can see you through the last of our battles. Until then, I will cherish every moment. I am Elidibus, the emissary. As such, it falls upon me to judge Athena, who would disrupt our carefully maintained balance to fulfill her own desires. I swear I shall not waver in this duty. Let's return to Erechthonios and La Habrea. There is much I would share with you before we embark upon our final ascent. Themis, it's good to see you. I knew Kasla would guide you to our side once again. I am grateful he had the patience to tolerate my lapse in manners. Athena's hold on me is broken, and I pledge every moment of my remaining time, seeing that she answers for her deeds. Very good. To that end, I would have you share what you know of her plan. Of course. As I mentioned, Athena possesses a vessel that may serve in the creation of a god. There's someone Kaslo knows well, a man by the name of Claudian. By a twist of fate, his body proved to be identical for Athena's purpose. The creation of a person requires not just a body, soul, or memory, but rather all three. We are made from the memories of our ancient counterparts, etched upon the drifting souls and given form through the infusion of ether. We lack a physical body, yet you can see and feel us all the same. Athena is different. She has carved her memories into Claudian's soul, while it was still within its body, and thus made both her own. But even she is prone to error. After the sundering, beings became more fragile in both body and soul, and this difference prevents Athena from realizing the full extent of her desires. So that's why she has turned her sights toward Kasla. His uncommon strength rivals even the mightiest of our age. By scrutinizing his feats in battle, Athena aims to deduce the secrets of Kasla's prowess and use it to fortify her own vessel. Only then will the culmination of her research be at hand. We have to save Claudia. An arduous task, but not impossible. Athena can inscribe herself upon another's soul, but she cannot erase its will. If we awaken Claudian's spirit to the reality of his bondage, he might be compelled to wrest his body from Athena's clutches. We still don't know why she chose Claudian. What makes him more suited than anyone else? Although I have never spoken to Claudian, I did witness an incident that may prove revelatory. When instructing the vessel to do her bidding, she called it by a familiar name, Erechthonios. But everybody was suspecting. What? Why would she? It is as I thought.